Hi there. Although it's all changed today, we have had some lovely weather in April, and in fact provisional data shows that April 2020 has been the sunniest April on record. It's also been notably dry. If we take a look at this map of the UK, it's showing the number of days since it last rained, and you can see across much of southern Britain we're looking at about sort of 7 days, about a week since it last rained. However, if you look at parts of Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England, we've got some places that have had 3 weeks since the last rain, so really quite dry in places such as these. Now if you look across Scotland, we've got a lot of places recording 0 days since the last rain. However, it does suggest that some places may have just recorded very small amounts of rain every day, such as morning dew being just enough moisture to write that day off as a dry day. Now let's take a look at this graph. This shows the number of days since the last significant rain. So that's rainfall amounts above a millimetre. And this just really illustrates exactly how dry it's been. Now we've taken that sort of bias away. You can see still over parts of southern Britain we've got about 7 days dry, but across some northeastern parts up to 45 consecutive days dry. So it's been a really dry period up here, definitely. But let's have a look at sort of 2018. This was a notably dry year for some comparison, and this map showing the number of consecutive dry days, the longest duration in 2018. So you can see a lot of these greens, these yellow colours, indicating 2 or 3 weeks dry across much of the map. But really the main focus is the East Midlands, East Anglia, where it was particularly dry, and some places in sort of East Anglia recording 51 consecutive dry days. So although we've had quite a dry period, it's not been quite this bad, and now we've got some change on the way, so I'm sure that'll make many of you happy to hear that we've got some rain coming. So let's take a look at the forecast. This is for Wednesday. So it does look like a sort of dull, damp, maybe cloudy start across some eastern places as rain clears eastwards during the morning. Elsewhere, low pressure to the west of the UK will push an area of rain, an occluded front, across southwestern parts during the morning and up northeastwards throughout the day on Wednesday, bringing rain to many places and quite a wet day. Now as we head into Thursday, we've still got some frontal rain around early in the morning. Low pressure will generally cross from west to east across the country on Thursday, bringing us a very unsettled day, so with those spells of rain at first, but then further showers following later in the day, potentially heavy and thundery too. Friday and into Saturday, still under the influence of that low pressure system, so keeping things slightly unsettled with a few showers at times, but generally those becoming sort of less widespread as we head towards Saturday. A few more drier intervals as we head towards the weekend. However, there may just be a few longer spells of rain in the south on Saturday. Now another thing to think about at the moment is the spraying opportunities. We've been updating this graph for you every week just so you can see how much spraying there has been, and with the good weather we've seen recently there's been plenty of hours available to get some spraying done. So you can see in the first week there, that's been our best week so far, 119 hours under an area of high pressure. The following week, a few showers, a few spells of rain and some windier conditions reduce those hours slightly, but we're back up, considering the lovely week that we've just had, back up to 115 hours of potential spraying time with that good weather. Now let's have a look at the next few days' spraying opportunities, those green colours indicating ideal spraying conditions. And although at first there does look like some on Wednesday, as that front crosses the UK, those green colours really reducing. And throughout the next couple of days, as conditions remain unsettled, there's only really a few green colours on the map in between those showers. And you can see as we head towards Saturday, the green colours do become a little more widespread as conditions generally try to improve into the weekend. Now the best thing to do if you're looking to get some spraying done, if you're trying to find a weather window in the midst of all this unsettled weather, is to speak to our forecasters. They're available between 6 AM and 6 PM every day, and the number to call is 09065 777675, and there'll always be someone here and happy to speak to you. Now let's take a look at the forecast a little further ahead. So we're looking into next week. So it's unsettled at first through the rest of this week, but as we head into the weekend and to the following part of the week, it does become slightly more settled. As you can see, we've got high pressure sort of close by, trying to help keep things a little bit more settled, but we've got areas of low pressure potentially coming up from the south and bringing us spells of showery rain, potentially thundery as well, so that is something to watch out for, but generally turning slightly more settled and a little bit warmer and drier into next week. And this really is illustrated by the ensemble forecast as well. This is mean sea level pressure in Leicester, and you can see a drop in the mean sea level pressure as we go in towards Thursday, where that low pressure crosses the country, bringing us that unsettled weather. Those are showers and spells of rain. Now as we head towards the weekend and first part of next week, we've got that pressure building ever so slightly, again bringing us slightly more settled conditions, although we have got another dip in the graph as we look towards sort of the middle part of next week, so the signal for maybe another area of low pressure to move up from the south, although timing's a little uncertain at the moment, as you can see from the spread of all the data. And then as we head a little further on in time, things beginning to relax back to how they were, so a bit more settled once again, but still quite a lot of spread, so a lot of uncertainty in the forecast at the moment, so it's always best to keep updated. Now let's take a look at the monthly forecast. So again, this just reinforces what we've been saying for week 2. Still under the influence of low pressure, those blue colours indicating lower than average pressure and sort of expecting spells of rain, showers, although there will be a few drier intervals too. And this really is reflected in the precipitation anomaly, so those green colours showing wetter than average conditions. You can see them across much of the UK, much of northwestern Britain, and also eastern parts of Europe too. And as we look a bit elsewhere, you can see some drier than average conditions across southern Europe, where there is the small influence of high pressure here, keeping things slightly more settled. We can also look at the temperature anomaly, and this is showing higher than average temperatures across many places for week 2, as that southerly airflow brings those warm temperatures up from southern Europe. So a warm week as well. Now as we look towards week 3, generally still a similar sort of pattern, still under sort of the influence of low pressure shown by those blue colours, but maybe a sort of bit of a change in wind direction. With low pressure still dominating, generally still sort of close to average, if not slightly above average amounts of rainfall, as shown by those green colours, although parts of Ireland, parts of southeastern UK will stay slightly closer to normal, with some drier intervals at times. Only some southeastern parts of Europe and those brown colours looking drier than average for week 3. Bit of a change in the temperatures as well into week 3. As I mentioned, a bit of a change in sort of the airflow, so it looks like we'll be in a sort of more northwesterly flow as we go into week 3, which will bring us those cooler temperatures, particularly across much of the continent as well, with again only sort of southeastern parts of Europe hanging on to those warmer temperatures. Now as we head towards week 4, maybe a bit of a sort of change on the horizon. It looks like high pressure is trying to build across Western Europe once again, trying to settle things back down. And this has a bit of an impact on the sort of rainfall anomaly, so we are seeing more of those brown colours across the maps indicating drier than average conditions, although if we look towards the UK, things are generally in those white colours, which indicates normal conditions. So conditions will be closer to average into week 4, just a few parts of sort of northwestern Britain, a little bit wetter, and a few areas slightly drier than average, but generally close to average as we head towards week 4. The temperatures are also picking back up into week 4 with that southerly flow bringing us a return to those slightly warmer temperatures, although most places will be closer to normal. We have got a few of those light red colours on the map there. So let's take a look at the overview for the sort of next month or so. So over the next few days it will be rather unsettled, with showers or longer spells of rain, potentially heavy and thundery at times with a few drier intervals, and indeed becoming slightly drier towards Saturday, with more in the way of those drier intervals and any spraying opportunities you might need. turning slightly warmer and a little more settled into next week, although there is still the potential from some areas of low pressure to come up from the south, bringing us just a small chance of the odd rumble of thunder. As we head towards the rest of May into sort of mid to late May, low pressure generally kind of hanging on, but a small signal as we head towards the latter part of May that high pressure will try and build to the south, bringing us more settled conditions. Thanks so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please get in touch with us on social media via Facebook and Twitter, and above all, stay safe.